everybody, I'm Karyn.
I'm Caitlin.
And we're from the Unley Libraries, and today we're going to show you how to cook some yummy scrolls, some that you can make at home. They're quite easy. So I'm going to show you some things that I've prepared earlier, and Caitlin's going to do some of the sifting of the flour as we go. A few things to remember before we start cooking though is you do need to have your oven preheated, and I think it's about 200 degrees.
220.
For the scrolls.
Yep.
Do we all know what scrolls are? There's like the yummy bread things, have cheese,
All kinds of things inside.
delicious things.
Yeah.
You can have lots of different things that you can put inside of your scroll, but we're doing today pesto and cheese.
And Vegemite and cheese.
And Vegemite and cheese, but you might use sun-dried tomatoes,
Some ham.
olives,
Olives.
or bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves, no, actually not everyone loves bacon, but that's okay. You can also get some of the ingredients that are vegan and vegetarian, so you can alter the recipe a little bit with that too. All right, so make sure that you have prepped your oven, and then most importantly, wash your hands. Caitlin and I have done that before we've started, and we've got some of our ingredients ready. So for the scroll, we are actually going to make a dough, and that requires, and I've already done this, so you'll be able to see it in there, 2 cups of sifted self-raising flour. So that's what helps the dough rise, having self-raising flour. So do you want to start doing your flour? So we're at the same space. So we need the flour in the bottom. And then to start the dough off, we are going to use some butter that has been chilled. And I think that's about
90 grams.
90 grams. Okay, so if you get a block, it's just under half of the block. And then we're going to just tip it straight into our flour. Now, the next bit is a bit of a messy bit, which is why you need to have your hands washed. So we are going to get our hands in there and start to make a little crumble. You can do sweet crumbles with this same method as well, with the flour and butter. And we're going to break the butter up into little parts, and it's going to come out looking a bit like crumbs. Okay. Lucky it's a bit of a hot day today, so the butter's not too hard.
What's the technique, Karyn? Fingertips?
All right, so yep, just using the end of your fingers, and you kind of rub it in so that the butter mixes in with our flour. So I've just still got a few big lumps there. So if you can, if you've got a big lump of butter like that, just try and break that up a little bit into a smaller crumb when you can. And that will make it easier to knead. All right, I think mine's nearly done. How's yours going?
I've got a little way to
few
go still. Yeah. But you keep going.
A few little lumps there. All right. And the flour now, as you can see, it's got a little bit more of a yellow colour to it. Most of the big lumps are gone. Just a couple of little ones there I'll break up. And then do we do a little well in the middle and put the milk in there?
Yeah, I think that's the best.
Okay. So let me see, how much have I got here? So this is, we've pre-measured these as well. So this is 150 mils of milk. Can you use skim or full cream? Does it matter?
Full cream is better because it has a fuller flavour for your scrolls, but if you have to, you can use skim milk. That's okay too.
That's the expert bacon. All right, stick that in. And then we just mix all of that in together. So this should form a nice dough, which we're then going to take out of the bowl and roll on the on our paper or on our board.
Floured board. Gosh, this is a good arm workout.
It is.
Put in the crummy. The butter.
Alrighty, that's coming together now. So you see it's starting to form into a clump there. How's yours going, Caitlin?
It's getting there. I've got a shaggy dough, so I think
A shaggy dough?
Yeah, look at this.
I've never had a shaggy dough before.
Nice texture. And I'm gonna keep kneading it till it's nice and smooth.
Strong fingers and strong hands we need for this. So mine's almost in one big bowl.
Yeah, yours is looking good.
just got some little bits at the end there, so sometimes if you make a little hole in there and then wrap the other dough around it, it works as well.
Oh yes, mine's
How's
starting
that?
to come together now.
Now you are probably, being a baker, because I know you like baking, you probably have got a really good technique for kneading dough, do you? How should you do that?
I push with the base of or the heel of my palm.
Like this?
Yep, and then pull back towards me. So down and then pull.
Okay. It's a little bit floury. If you do find that it's completely crumbly still and not floury, you can add just a little smidgen of milk, but don't add too much.
No, you don't want it to be too wet.
You definitely don't want it wet. All right, and then I'm just using the dough, pick up all those other little crumbs.
I'm getting flour everywhere. You might like to wear an apron when you're doing this or some old clothes. Baking can be a messy, messy job.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it.
Exactly. And you get a beautiful, delicious reward at the end.
Yes. Now, did we say that we prepared the tray earlier?
No, maybe.
Okay. No. I did prepare the tray earlier, just so you can see. So I've just put a little bit of butter around the edges, and then I put my baking paper on top as well, because we don't want it to stick to these pans.
The other thing about the trays is to try and use one that has a slightly higher side, not a completely flat tray, because that will contain your scrolls and give them a bit of structure as well. So if you can find a baking dish that's got a little bit of a lip or a side, you'll be doing well.
Okay, now rolling the dough into a long rectangular shape, about a centimetre thick. Is that what we're doing?
That's it, yes.
Ooh. Are you doing yours?
Yeah, and then I would just kind of press it out gently.
Now, how many scrolls are we thinking that we might make from?
I think this should make about 6.
Oh, 6 big ones or 6 small ones?
6 good lunchbox sized ones.
Oh, that's a great idea. These would be actually not too bad. They'd be quite healthy to put in your lunchbox. And in fact, you could put some really healthy ingredients in there, like spinach.
Yes.
Cheese is pretty good. Some sun-dried tomatoes. Yeah.
Olives is a great idea. I'm excited to try an olive scroll.
And basil's healthy too. And actually,
also parsley.
so this pesto, which we prepared earlier, pesto is really easy to make, and it's great in the summertime to make because lots of you will probably be growing it at home, or you can get bunches of it fairly cheap at the markets or the shop. So with this one, I just blitzed up a really big bunch of basil, lots of olive oil. I think I put 2 cloves of garlic in there, some salt, and then most importantly, some Parmesan cheese.
It smells
I'm
delicious.
sure you can get like a vegan version of that cheese as well too, if you need it. All right. Do we then cut them?
So you've got to go out flat, so you want it to be about the size of...
Oh, a lot flatter.
Yeah. You want like a big flat pastry base. My dough's still coming together. It takes a little bit of kneading, lots of arm muscles. And actually, you maybe could use a rolling pin if that's easier.
Yes, do we have a rolling pin?
We do. One of our lovely assistants can maybe pass it to us.
We'll just get that from the
The
side
magic
there.
of off-screen.
Ta-da!
How's that working?
That's working good. I don't want to make it too thin though, do I? Because we want it to...
You don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either, because you want a good ratio of flavour, which we're putting on with the cheese and the pesto, to dough.
How's that? Am I running?
Keep going.
Am I doing that correct shape though?
Yep, perfect shape. Just want it to be about twice.
It kind of
as big.
looks like a focaccia. Have you had focaccia before?
Oh, we could do that as a...
We might do some more cooking stuff online this year too. And hopefully you'll be able to join in and work from home. All right. Do you want that?
Yes, please.
No, do I just start?
So now you can start with your pesto.
Yes. This is fairly oily, this pesto, so I'll just try to avoid that oil that's sitting at the top there. I do find when I'm spreading things on pastry, it's better to use a spoon as well rather than a knife.
And the back of the spoon too.
Yes.
You can catch.
This kind of looks a little bit like pizza too.
Yeah, it does. It's a very thick.
But are we going to roll this and then cut it
Yeah.
afterwards? Is that how we do it?
That's it.
All right. Do you think that's enough pesto? That's quite a bit, isn't it? Yummy, yummy.
This is one of those great recipes that you can kind of use your own discretion as to how much or how little you use. If you like it super cheesy, use extra cheese. If you don't like cheese that much, you don't even have to put it in.
Yeah, really. You could cut up anything and put in there if you're just going to roll
That's
it
right,
over.
exactly.
So now I've got my cheese. We're just using grated cheese. Okay, done. So,
Perfect.
do I start rolling now?
I would roll it
that other way. Okay, you can do it either way.
Just depends on
Whichever
whether
way.
you want many scrolls, many swirls in your scroll
Many
or not.
swirls. That's what we tell everybody is that's pattern is a swirl. That is true.
Now, my dough is a little bit shaggy, but I think it's going to work.
I was trying to think of a really great joke about scrolls, but
No dice?
they just weren't scrolling in my head, unfortunately. Oh, I have to do something to close this over. There you go.
Oh, that's it. All right, so I'm going to just spread my Vegemite on with a spatula. You can use a knife or the back of a spoon.
Now,
And again, as much or as little as you want.
that looks great. Now that knife that we prepared earlier.
Yep, not sure where that is.
Where was it? Sometimes we forget our utensils. We had everything else prepared.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you, kind magical assistant over there. All right, so we've rolled this up into a scroll shape. You'll see when I cut through this, I'll show you on the side what it looks like. So it's about that thick.
Yes, perfect. About 2 centimetres.
And then we're just gonna sit them in the tray. And of course, as the self-raising flour is baking, these will puff up. So we need to leave a little bit of an area between them, don't we, Caitlin?
That's it. Yeah, it's okay if once they cook, they're touching a little bit, but you need to give them a little bit of space to
In
do
fact,
their
it'll look
thing.
quite nice if they're all joined into one big pull apart almost.
And it depends on what kind of person you are. Some people love having bread edges, and some people love having just the inside soft, squishy bread. So
Okay. I'm going to try and make this so I've got exactly fine. So I do have one little teeny one at the end there.
a little baby scroll. Scroll, scroll, scroll. And then, yeah, we're just going to press the edges
That's
down.
my little tiny baby one.
That's your little snack scroll.
That's my snack scroll.
Cute.
Now if you find that they're coming out underneath and undoing, you could use a little bit of milk to actually seal, or a little bit of egg wash actually, and just push the ends down like that, and then they shouldn't split open. Except that one did. We just won't look at that one. Oh, these smell so
They
delicious.
smell fantastic.
Okay, just put my nice little bits of cheese on the top. Don't want to waste anything. And there's my basil pesto and cheese scrolls, and we'll show you what they look like once they're cooked. How are you going with yours?
I'm good. I'm just cutting.
Caitlin's are definitely more swirly than me. Mine.
And a slightly deeper dough. Now I've got a little baby one from the end too. So I might join my two ends and they can sit in there together. Right. And there are my Vegemite and cheese scrolls. So we are going to put these in the oven now. They go in for about 15 to 20 minutes. You can just keep an eye on them until they go nice and golden on top. And a quick tip for when you're cooking bread, if you give it a little knock and it sounds hollow, then it's cooked.
Yeah, and you should, when you take them out of the oven, you do need to have like a little wire cooling rack and just leave them on there for about 10 minutes because they'll be really hot on the inside. We need to be careful we don't burn our mouths.
Perfect. All right.
We'll be back later to show you what they look like.
We'll go and put these in the oven.
So, these are the scrolls that we cooked earlier in the oven. We've got the basil, pesto and cheese and the Vegemite and cheese to go. So they made about 9 little scrolls out of each lot of dough. So now the only thing left to do is to eat one.
I mean, it is lunchtime.
It is lunchtime, so I'm going to try one of mine. So good. Can you see that? It's got a bit of cheese. It's come out the edge.
Should crack them. Oh yes, look at that.
Pesto.
Yum.
Hot. They are still hot.
Good.
Thumbs up.
Happy cooking.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.